It was a warm afternoon on May 26, 1828, when a teenage boy stumbled into the streets of Nuremberg, Germany. He could barely walk. His clothes were tattered, his feet blistered, and in his hand he carried a letter addressed simply to the captain of the 4th Squadron. The townspeople thought he was drunk or lost. When they spoke to him, he could say only a few words. His name sounded like Kaspar Hauser. He kept repeating, "I want to be a cavalryman like my father," and horse. No one knew where he'd come from. The letter said the boy had been raised in isolation by a mysterious man who had taught him only to read a few phrases and to pray. He had been kept in a dark cell for as long as he could remember, fed only bread and water, never seeing the world outside. Physicians examined him and confirmed he behaved like a child who had grown up without human contact, fascinated by simple objects, confused by crowds, and terrified of loud sounds. He seemed innocent, almost otherworldly. As his story spread, Europe became obsessed. Was he an abused orphan or someone far more important? Rumors began to swirl that Kaspar Hauser was actually the missing heir to the powerful House of Baden, switched at birth so another child could inherit the throne. Nuremberg authorities gave Kaspar a tutor, a kind teacher named Georg Daumer, who helped him learn to read, write, and speak. Kaspar showed remarkable intelligence, but he also suffered sudden fits and paranoia, claiming someone was watching him. In 1829, less than a year after his arrival, an intruder broke into Daumer's home and struck Kaspar on the head with a blade. He survived, but the attacker was never found. By 1833, Kaspar was living in the town of Ansbach under the care of a local official when another tragedy struck. On December 14th, he stumbled home bleeding from a stab wound to his chest, claiming a stranger had lured him to a park with the promise of information about his mother. He died 3 days later. He was about 21 years old. Authorities investigated, but the evidence was baffling. Some believed Kaspar had staged the attack himself, perhaps by accident. Others were convinced he'd been silenced to hide a royal secret. Over the years, countless writers and historians have debated who he really was. DNA analysis in 1996 compared blood samples from his belongings to the Baden royal line. The results were inconclusive. Tests repeated in 2002 also failed to prove or disprove the royal theory. Today, Kaspar Hauser's grave still stands in Ansbach. Its inscription reads, "Here lies Kaspar Hauser, a riddle of his time." His birth was unknown, his death mysterious. Almost 2 centuries later, the mystery endures. Was he a lost prince, a forgotten child, or simply a young man who became trapped inside a story too big to escape?